welcome to Not Now in Theaters. My name is Will Turntail, and I'm a writer and film fan from California. This episode is all about David Cronenberg's cult classic Scanners. It's a Canadian science fiction thriller and bit of a horror movie about psychics going after each other for domination and conspiracies about their origins. Somehow, in all this time, I had never taken the time to watch this cult classic. Though there's a bit of a reason it took a while, which I'll get into. Before we start, a reminder that making films is hard and you have to respect that, so any criticisms are meant to be constructive. This review will contain spoilers. I'll do my best to call them out for you before they come up. Okay, let's get into the movie. Scanners, 1981 reaction. When mind reading gets gross. When I was little, David Cronenberg's Scanners scared the life out of me. On many video store trips with my dad and brothers, I saw the Scanners box. Its threatening cover art made a lasting, scary impression. And many times I would see the cover art for Scanners and get freaked out by this guy who very much looked like he was about to blow up. And then there was that comforting advertising text that confirms, yes, a scanner can blow you up in 20 seconds. The film's cover is almost anime. All this wind or heat looks like it's rising straight up off the man, who I now know is the legendary Michael Ironside. It's like in Akira, how Tatsuo appears when he's doing his mind stuff. It's as if there's a huge fan beneath his legs, blasting up toward the ceiling, flapping his flesh around. And Akira is an appropriate comparison here because this movie is all about telepathy and telekinesis. But why did it have to be gross? I don't do well with gross stuff. When I was little, I was hiking in a field near my grandmother's house, and somehow while I was walking, I looked down to find that this stick or piece of sharp straw impaled itself loosely through the fat of my calf. Maybe it was this incident, or the time I was 3 and stepped on a bee barefoot, the stinger being a tough pull off the pad of my foot, that did it. But sometimes, this aversion to gross things has gotten so bad that I almost pass out, growing weaker and weaker to the point where I have to lie down. This sickness has gotten better since I've aged. I can take some of the nasty films on offer. I even confront them on purpose, trying to grow in my resolve. So, in dealing with this problem, I wanted to finally conquer something I've been putting off. Watching Scanners, despite that childhood fear of the box art. And my phobias aside, there are all the cool reasons to watch Scanners too, of course. Released in 1981, Scanners is a Canadian science fiction horror film. Written and directed by the infamous body horror maestro David Cronenberg, it was made for approximately $6.3 million and pulled in $14.2 million at the box office. But the real tick in the box here is that while Scanners received mixed reviews at release, it has gone on to become one of those so-called cult classics. You'll find the movie in the prestigious Criterion collection, and plenty of Reddit threads or social media posts sing its praises. So is Scanners a good movie? The plot of Scanners. When Cameron Vale is cruising a mall food court, he hears the thoughts of a nearby woman. She's being rude and dissing him. Angered, he uses his telepathic powers to throw her into a seizure. But despite his powers, he didn't realize he was being watched. After some G-men capture him with a tranquilizer dart, they take him to Dr. Paul Ruth. Dr. Ruth has an explanation for his powers and a drug called ephemeral that can block the non-stop echoes of other people's thoughts in his head. Meanwhile, the Consec company holds a private demonstration of scanning. But when the Consec scanner asks for a volunteer, little does he know his participant is Master Scanner Daryl Revok. Revok unexpectedly turns the tables on the demonstrations, scanning back until his opponent violently dies. When it's revealed that Revok is out to kill the other scanners and is recruiting or killing those most powerful, Dr. Ruth persuades new recruit Vale to investigate. Soon, Vale meets up with other scanners, such as the powerful Kim Obrist. And as the battle of scanner versus scanner begins, the threads of a conspiracy are pulled. Can Vale and Obrist uncover the mystery and stop Revok? And to walk you through this fine cast here, Cameron Vale is played by Stephen Lack. Dr. Paul Ruth is played by Patrick McGoohan. The wonderful Michael Ironside plays Daryl Revok. And Jennifer O'Neill comes in as Kim Obrist. And you can read the rest of the main cast here in the transcript. And if you wanted to see a trailer for Scanners, I put a YouTube link to it in the links in this episode section at the bottom of the transcript, along with links to screenshots and other things from the film down there. So let's get into what's good about Scanners. First up, we'll call this Unraveling That Mystery, which is worth 5 points. I loved this movie's setup and execution. It's funny to me that the film begins with Cameron, a normal-looking guy, cruising a food court, and somehow is so utterly repulsive to these two women. Yeah, he picks up a bunch of leftovers and eats them, but they don't see that. Is it his trench coat and layers that's gross? Don't get it. He's even clean-shaven. But Cameron gives the woman a seizure with his mind, and I almost feel worse for him than I do for her. She shouldn't talk shit on people, and he looks stressed out. After he's unexpectedly tranquilized through a dart to his fist and nabbed, he wakes up at a crazy warehouse. Then, all these people file in whose thoughts he can hear. We're drawn into the story, and withholding the exposition of why piques our interest. Is this guy dangerous? Are these people the dangerous ones? The film continues this way, pulling you along without delivering a whole gob of exposition. And the film's mystery is a fun ride. Kim and Cameron keep digging with action and revelations along the way. Next, it's the film's acting performances and characters, which are worth 4 points. Stephen Lack is the wide-eyed Cameron Vale. His performance feels contained, but that's a good thing here. He's talented in his scanning, but very straight as he walks into a crooked world. And I liked it. Vale is the hard-boiled detective that isn't. He's just a wanderer, suddenly given a new trench coat and purpose. Find Daryl Rivik. Jennifer O'Neill, as Kim Obritz, could potentially control you with her beauty if she couldn't already do that with her mind. Her shock of white hair looks like she's been through some things, but her also quiet performance generates a wisdom to her presence in her companionship with Cameron. She's no damsel in distress, nor overpowerful manipulator. She's the good witch of scanning, one Cameron is glad to have on his side. Michael Ironside is a 1980s, 1990s villain and side characters tycoon, and I was thrilled to see the man here as villain and psychopathic telepath Daryl Rivik. We watch Ironside's chilling performance in the archival Psycho Ward video footage. A young and disturbing Rivik smiles about drilling a hole in his own head. I wondered if James Cameron channeled this moment when he wrote his script for The Terminator, because it somewhat mirrors Kyle Reese's rant in the police station about how the Terminator will never stop hunting Sarah Connor. And Ironside has his line delivery switch cranked up, always getting you to pay attention. He's magnificent when he yells out in a guttural voice, "Daryl Rivik!" in the final showdown. And Patrick McGoohan, as Dr. Ruth, is that, well, isn't this fascinating mofo that every good conspiracy film needs? And now we gotta talk about how the film has some tense actions, which adds 4 points. This movie is a fan of what I think are low-angle close-ups, the color red, and shotguns. Everybody who comes to murder a scanner or put you in your place as part of security, yeah, they got a shotgun. And as Vale and Obritz flee their conspirators, those shotguns get put to some fiery uses, including some brazen attacks and tense escapes. There's even a drive-by van, outfitted for street wars, just full of shotgun-wielding baddos. People get lit on fire, and stuff blows up. But the more impressive part is how the film mixes things around. At one point, Vale scans not a human but a supercomputer because Dr. Ruth tells him it also has a nervous system. Huh? I put together a few computers back in my gaming days, and I don't remember any nervous system getting assembled off the motherboard and processor. The logic is nonsense, but delivered by the doctor, okay, go with it. It's like they say on the excellent The Cinephiles podcast, when you like the movie, you can roll with things that don't quite make sense because you like the film enough to bend. And that sequence, when Vale hacks the computer with his brain, well, is almost out of hackers, though of course with less taunting about being the plague. If you know, you know. And I just loved him hacking a computer until it exploded all over the place, and electricity went flaming through the phone lines. Mind reading, or in this case computer reading, is a dramatic game of Thunderdome. 2 minds enter, 1 mind leaves. So for a science fiction and horror type of film, there are plenty of exciting, action-like scenes. So now let's get into what I didn't like as much about this movie. The first one we'll just call gross, which takes away 2 points. Okay, many of you will be happy about this and will put it in the positive column. But this is a movie made by the body horror maestro David Cronenberg. So yeah, occasionally things get sticky, melty, and gross. And it's not just the film's infamous exploding head scene. Cronenberg's talent for body trauma that sticks with you is such that he gets me with little things that I didn't know could gross me out. For example, where veins would do, people are fond of injecting ephemeral into their hands, right about the wrist. Watching a needle hit a vein in the arm is difficult for me, and many others, but this little twist in the wrist is somehow extra icky. And we have to talk about the scanner battles. Most of the time, the film's scanner battles look like the participants were trying to pass the world's most stubborn of turds. But when it's time for that almighty showdown, things just get gross. There are flames, but also squishy, melting skin and blood through punctures. Why does the fracture of the mind draw blood and sickly, fleshy bits? No idea. But hey, at least this time, Michael Ironside doesn't come out of it losing an arm, which he's done in about 4 or 5 films. And then there's the film's music. It takes away 2 points. Howard Shore's music is, at times, pretty cool. He wavers and wavers and wavers on what I think are synthesizers for all the scanning. It's not John Carpenter bleeps, and it's not Spaceballs' the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. But the rest of the music in the movie just doesn't do it for me. It's very dramatic, a lot of the strings section. But I wish for something even more electronic. It seems more epic in the final battle and other moments of trouble, where I think synths would have fit the ethereal subject matter more closely. So adding it all up, Scanners bags 9 points. On my scale of let's not watch, should I watch, or go watch this movie, I'm going to award it my should I watch rating. Scanners is an enjoyable piece of sci-fi, thriller, and horror that, thanks to its reliance on story and practical effects, holds up well. It will grab your attention and keep you as the mysteries of scanning, corporate corruption, and the made-up drug ephemeral take shape. And for me, well, I can tick this off as a childhood fear confronted. It was gross, but adult me can look at the film's poster fearlessly. The legacy of Scanners. So what's the legacy of Scanners? Well, the movie opened with mixed reviews, but has gone on to be a cult classic. Reappraisals are positive, and the movie is in the prestigious Criterion and Janus film collections. You'll also see the film get love on Reddit threads or other corners of the internet. So it has fans in high and casual places. In pop culture, you used to find references to it from time to time, like the Jim Carrey Saturday Night Live sketch, if you know it, Jimmy Tango's Fat Busters, where he scan battles someone in the audience, or in the Chris Farley movie Tommy Boy. The film's Wikipedia page says it was one of the first films to roll out of Canada and compete with American films at the international box office. So there you go. And it said the movie brought Cronenberg's directing style and body horror to mainstream audiences. That head exploding scene, managed with shooting it with a shotgun and exploding pieces of burgers, depending on which account you read, among other things, is infamous. Scanners has 2 official sequels. Scanners 2, The New Order, was released in 1991, followed by Scanners 3, The Takeover, in 1992. Neither sequel involves David Cronenberg, and both movies were released straight to video. Neither has solid reviews, so I don't think we'll bother with them much. But what's interesting is that there are also the spin-offs Scanner Cop and Scanners, The Showdown, aka Scanner Cop 2. These are also straight-to-video titles with middling reviews, but somebody had to be making money somewhere for there to be 4 direct-to-video sequels, for sure. There have been attempts to adapt the movie into a television series in 2011, 2017, and 2022. And naturally, the remake, because that's all we do now, was supposed to come out around 2008, but thankfully, it didn't happen. Michael Ironside, who played Daryl Rivik, of course, is in tons of movies you may know and love, like Top Gun, Total Recall, Starship Troopers, and the list goes on. He's often the bad guy, if not always the bad guy, or a kick-ass sidekick. Jennifer O'Neill, who played Kim Obritz, has numerous film and TV credits, with work as recent as 2024. She has lived, from what I can tell from her Wikipedia page, a long and winding life, having been married 9 times to 8 different men, surviving a suicide attempt, and surviving a gun accident, among many other travails. Patrick McGoohan, who played Dr. Ruth, had a long and successful acting career, with roles in film and television dating back to 1954. He's most known to me as playing the cruel English king Edward Longshanks in 1995's Braveheart. In addition to acting, which he does from time to time, Stephen Lack, who played Cameron Vale, is a prominent painter. He also does drawings and sculptures. He has received National Endowment for the Arts grants for painting. Lack is most known for Scanners and a film called The Rubber Gun, which I had never heard of. And apologies to any actors I didn't highlight here. Lastly, according to IMDb's trivia page, this movie can be considered as part of a late 1970s, early 1980s cycle of movies that dealt with telekinesis and psychokinesis. The pictures include, amongst others, Carrie in 1976, The Fury in 1978, The Sender 1982, Firestarter of 1984, The Medusa Touch 1978, Ruby from 1977, Jennifer from 1978, Patrick from 1978, The Dead Zone 1983, The Curlian Witness 1978. And then there were the parodies Zapped in 1982 and Modern Problems in 1981. That's a hell of a lot of movies about the same type of thing. Okay, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't seen it yet, I hope you'll check out Scanners. And if you have watched it, what do you think of the movie? Is it the best of those psychokinesis films that ran amok in that era? You can reach out and let me know on Blue Sky using the link in the transcript, or just search for Will Turn Tail. And if you liked this episode, would you take a minute or two of your time to leave me a review for wherever you're listening from, if you haven't done that already? A few people have left reviews, and I so appreciate that. It makes a massive difference. Or if you're listening on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. New episodes of this podcast come out on Tuesdays, unless, of course, they get a bit delayed like this one did. Next week's episode will be Walter Hill's Depression-era action film Hard Times, or the next Versus episode, horror films The Blob up against The Mist. Hard Times is such a classic piece of screenwriting, and that Blob against The Mist battle has been teased on this podcast forever, so I should really get it out there. So tune in for next week's episode on one of those. This podcast episode is production copyright of Overegged Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. The introduction music was Neon Laser Horizon by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. And the exit music and additional music are also by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, also licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. The names of those songs are Voxel Revolution, Half Mystery, and Aerosol of My Love. Goodbye for now.